Hello, I'm Derek Wyatt and I'm the Labour MP for Sittingbourne and Sheppey, and I'm here discussing lots and lots of issues with the Works and Pensions Secretary of State, John Hutton. John, one question that constituents have asked me over the last 10 years is why women haven't got equality in the pensions. So how are we changing that?
Well, you're right, Derek, they don't have equality with men, and that's an historic feature of the system. Women have had to contribute 39 years worth of stamps towards their pension before they get a full pension. And because of the broken nature of a lot of women's employment and so on and their caring responsibilities, they never get to that point. At the moment, only less than a third of women get to 60 with a full state pension. Now, with the reforms that we're introducing in Parliament now that are in committee stage, we can improve that position dramatically. It'll go to 75% of women reaching state pension age with a full pension, because we're going to reduce the number of years to 30. We're going to provide more generous crediting arrangements if they're looking after sick relatives or caring for their children while they're little. And that is a way I think we will get to equality in pension entitlement between men and women, and we're doing it as quickly as we can.
And you know how slow things move here, so when you say it's going through the House, at what stage will it be implemented? Are we talking 2009 or 2010?
It'll be 2010 when these changes kick in. The bill should get royal assent this year, and you know we budgeted for these changes to come in 2010, but it'll make a big difference to literally hundreds of thousands of women.
I've been a regular visitor to Works and Pensions over the last 4 years, holding the flag of the ASW people in Sheerness, and we've run a pretty successful campaign, moving from 400 to 2.3 billion, but still I get, even today, emails saying, why can't you pay out the whole thing? And we've got the court case decision, I think, on the 7th of February. So where are we, and why can't we pay 100%?
Well, we had a ruling from the European Court last week, Derek, as you know, which looked at all of these issues. We're carefully studying the ruling of the European Court, and we need to think very carefully about what, if any, more help we can provide to people who are caught up in this terrible situation. We haven't come to a decision about that, but we are looking very carefully at the implications of the ruling and how we need to respond. The case will come back to the High Court later next year. The ruling next week is about the Ombudsman's report into problems about pensions. And as you quite rightly said, we have put significant resources into this to try and provide as much justice as we can to people who've caught up in this situation. But there's no doubt at all, because of the court cases, we will have to have a look carefully at how we proceed in the future. But we haven't come to a decision yet, as you know, about what we should do.
And is that a matter of because you haven't had enough time, or is it because it's more complex, or is it because you've got to think about where you get that money from? Or
it's all of those things.
It
is very complicated, and in fact that was recognised in the European Court, just what a complicated set of legal provisions there are in this area. The European Court did say that, and I think to be fair to them, rightly so, that for all these years the UK government has been advised by the Commission of the European Union that we were implementing the regulations properly. They changed their mind last year, but through all this period of time, both this period of government for the Labour and for the Conservatives before that, we were doing the right thing in the way we'd put our laws together. Now, we have to consider what this means. There is clearly an implication for taxpayers' money, which we've got to treat responsibly. But we are looking very carefully at this judgment, and I'm sure we will have further discussions, you and I, about this over the next few months.
I'm sure we will. And we've also made some announcements this week on single mums, and I think that would be welcome. So what exactly are we proposing to do?
Well, at the moment we've got nearly 750,000 lone parents who are on income support bringing up their children, and at the moment we don't ask anything of them until their youngest child is 16. Now, many of them have been out of the labour market for many years, and suddenly at 16 to say, look, come on, we want you to find a job now, it doesn't work like that. And many women will go straight onto incapacity benefit or go onto other forms of benefit, and it's not good for the health and well-being of those families for us to sit back and say, I think, well, there's nothing we can do. So what we want to do is encourage more lone parents to get back into work more quickly. We're spending a very large amount of money in providing affordable, quality childcare for families. There are plenty of jobs in the southeast and London, but we're not doing enough to help lone parents get those jobs. So this will be the government doing more to help lone parents, but expecting more in return. And we will have to have a proper debate both in Parliament and in the country as a whole, I think, over the next few months, about precisely what changes we want to make to the system. But I say very strongly that the current system is not sustainable. I think it's bad for families and children, bad for taxpayers and the economy too.
I mean, 16 years to think that the computer was the size of this room that we're in, and seeing the change there. So is there some educational credit system that we could bring in or help? Or so well, how will we actually
we have a
upskill them?
Well, we do spend a lot of money on training and skills development and so on. And we have the New Deal for lone parents as well. And it's been a tremendous success. We've actually got now, for the first time, over 1 million lone parents in work. And we've had a very significant increase in the employment rate for lone parents. But I'm just not satisfied that we're doing enough. And yes, part of this will be about more skills, more training, more help and support, and we need to look at how we can provide that. But we'll need to do that. And then I think in return, I think we should say we will need to say to lone parents, look, we expect you to engage with that help and support, because it's the right thing for you and your families to get back to work as quickly as possible. And I can say that with some personal experience, because that was how I was brought up. And the one thing that changed my life and turned our opportunities around as a family was when my mum got back into work. And we'd go on holiday. We could do the things that all my mates were doing and everything else. We started to join the mainstream. And I think if we believe in social cohesion and a strong society, then we've got to do more to help lone parents.
Okay, and I've had so many thank you letters from pensioners who are on pension credit. People who said, I've never had a holiday and I'm ringing you from Paris, or I always wanted to go to Blackpool
Good.
and I never went, and then my wife and I have taken the coach and we're there. And
Fantastic.
Another pensioner saying, I never thought I'd ever get a new carpet, and so on. But I've also had some pensioners say, this is not fair. I've worked hard too and I'm out of the system. So in the longer term, how do you see the pension market moving?
I think it needs to change to reflect some of those points that you've made. I mean, I think looking back over the last 10 years, it was absolutely the right thing to do, to target all the extra help that we could on the poorest pensioners, because pensioner poverty was a disgrace in our country 10 years ago. Now you're less likely to be poor if you're a pensioner than if you're in any other group in society. That is a big turnaround. It hasn't happened simply by chance, it's happened by design. But now we've got a different set of problems to deal with. I think the biggest problem we face is under saving. Not enough people are saving, so we're going to be introducing a new low-cost saving scheme for millions of workers to join in, and their employers will be required to contribute. It's going to be a big step forward. We're going to take as much means testing as we can out of the state pension system by making the state pension more generous, linking it to earnings. And we should continue to provide some reward and help to those who've actually done the right thing and saved for their retirement. So we will keep pensions credit and reward those who've saved. But I think it's a combination of those measures and the extra measures we will be able to do between now and 2012, when these changes will kick in, increasing the value of the state pension where we can and so on, that I think will make it clear to people the importance we attach to tackling pensioner poverty and looking after our pensioners.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.